Hi Pranav, thanks for your time today.
Hi, sir.
And as I told you, this video might be recorded and posted on social media.
Yeah,
So I have your CV in front of me. I believe you're just a fresher, not even passed out of college, right?
yeah, sir. Currently
Yeah.
pursuing my final year of engineering.
Very interesting. And you just told me that you already have two offer letters from different companies,
Yeah,
and
sir.
you have an interview in the third one today. So
Yeah.
well done on that. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right. So tell me about yourself. What you have been doing so far. How was your BTech degree? In what did you do? And then we'll go further.
Okay. So currently I'm pursuing my computer science engineering in the college called Reva University. My CGPA stand out to be 9.2, and I have like started to work on DevOps, like learn tools of DevOps from past 1 year when I started my third year of engineering. The thing why I got into DevOps is that I started development in the first year of my engineering only. But coding and all, I tried for 2 years. Then I didn't get a lot of interest on that. So I thought to get into something which is unique. So I just wanted to
Mhm.
stand out from the crowd from the college because most of the college people would be sticking only to full stack development.
Yep.
But I thought I wanted to be standing out from the crowd. I wanted to do something unique. So that's the what main reason which helped me to get two offer letters. So that's why DevOps is the thing which I choose to be and pursuing that basically.
Yep. Very interesting choice that you made, and I think it will pay you off very handsomely. And
Thank
so, how did you get the inspiration? So, were your other friends also trying out for DevOps, or did you just explore the technology yourself?
So, sir, to be frank, like in my college itself, and I have some few contacts from outside the college also. Most of them, like not most of them, 19% of them know, like most of them even doesn't know what is DevOps basically. So
Yep.
basically, they're into development side only, learning on one stack applications, React, as such. So there, I got to know that like this is not my cup of tea. So let me hop onto something different. So that's why I got into DevOps.
Right. And so, I've just shared your CV as well.
Uh,
So very interesting your CV, and I think the viewers on this channel will very much appreciate how you actually put up your CV and the sort of experience and the projects. And you are still in the final year, yeah, right? So
yeah, sir.
seventh sem, you said.
Yeah, 7 sem right now.
Okay, right. So tell me about this experience. So you worked as a technical DevOps and cloud trainee.
Yeah,
So
sir.
what did you do in this training?
Sir, basically, the thing as I was a fresher, I don't know what is the company atmosphere would be, like what all technologies will be used, how GitLab repo would be different from the normal GitLab we use. Basically, it will be having a lot of branches and all. So it was quite challenging for me at the starting of the project.
Yep.
It was basically a job portal which we developed, same like Naukri and all what you see. It's completely the same thing. We were given the task of development at the starting of the internship.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because what I learned, what I got to know from other my senior people is that DevOps is the thing which you can't jump directly into. You should be having some hands-on experience on development part. You should be knowing what is development would look like, how would you develop things. So basically, I worked on development side for 2 months, where I developed a job portal with help of a one stack application.
Mm-hmm.
Once the development was done, from past 2 months, I'm working on the deployment part, where first I try to deploy the application with help of Docker.
Yep.
Then I perform the CI/CD pipelines on that with help of Jenkins, and was working on the Kubernetes part. How to do it? It's quite complex, so I have taken some time in learning out things properly. So currently, I'm working on that, learning and trying to deploy the application with help of Kubernetes.
Right. And how did you go in Kubernetes? Did you deploy in cloud? Did you deploy in Minikube?
Sir, currently, I haven't deployed in Kubernetes. I'm just learning about Kubernetes. I
Yep.
deployed with the help of Docker locally. Uh, the thing of deployment in Kubernetes, currently working on that.
Okay, right. How proficient are you in cloud? So, and which cloud did you use?
Sir, I have used AWS. I have practiced all my projects and my like, complete hands-on practice on only on AWS. I
Hmm.
don't know about GCP and Azure. I am good with AWS, and also have completed my Udemy course on AWS. Like I'm currently looking forward to give up my AWS Cloud Practitioner exam too.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's good. I see that you already have some sort of certifications as well.
yeah,
So you
sir.
got AWS Developer Associate. course. You've done a
Yes.
course, okay, from there,
Yeah.
and you've done a course in here. All right, so you've done a couple of courses, but they're not really certified from AWS, right? So a couple of
Yeah, sir.
courses that you've done.
That's why I'm looking out for the official certification.
Yes, and that's what you should be doing as well. So
Yes,
as
sir.
you go ahead, keep on collecting the certifications because that make your credentials look pretty strong.
Sure, sir. I will do that.
Okay, right. So instead of making this an interview question and answers, because
Yes, sir.
uh, one thing is that you haven't even passed out of college and you already have two jobs, which says that you already have potential. But
Yeah.
I would not be going for hardcore question and answers because I understand that you're a fresher and you might not be able to answer the complex questions. So let's try to convert this session into some sort of your experience in searching the job, because a lot of
Okay.
people nowadays who meet currently, uh,
Hmm.
they have their CV done, but they're not even able to get one job. So tell me
Yeah,
about
sir.
your experience as to how you started preparing your CV. Is this
Hmm.
something that you have written yourself, or did you take any help of any other website or others' CVs
Yeah,
to
sir.
write
I
it
have
down?
referred a couple of CVs
Okay.
because I wanted to tailor it as an experience because I don't want to keep it as a fresher. Like we just go to many website resume AI generated and all. It
Yep.
would be generating us based on that. This is what experience CV would look like. So I just wanted to make my CV in such a way that it should be appealing. It should stand out from the crowd. So that
Yes.
was the main ideology behind that. And with respect to applying for jobs, looking out for jobs, currently everyone know that market is not going good. There is a lot of job scarcity, not only in market, even in my college also. There are it's a lot of problem my friends are facing on to get into placement. So what I suggest is that LinkedIn is what I look for because
Mhm.
two of my off campus I got it only through LinkedIn. So that was a main tool which I prefer every month. And my LinkedIn CV also profile also like attracted 2 to 3 recruiters towards me. They pinged me up on LinkedIn. They asked me for interview. I gave up my interviews. I have cleared with the help of LinkedIn only. I
Right.
haven't used any other job portals.
Okay. That's cool. So did you get an opportunity uh, for remote working, or do you have to go to office
No,
now?
sir. Both of them was on site only. I have to go to office.
Okay.
Just a
And you?
suggestion from my end is that what I is that I just look out for opportunities. Like in case now, see most of our freshers, the scenario is once you get placed, you will be blocked from the placement cell. That's what everyone offers face. Even
Yep.
I face the same thing. Starting only, I just got a placement in one of the company, and I was blocked. The main issue we all face is that. So what I suggest is that we would be getting other companies in our this one college portals and all. Just
Yep.
I'll tell you that you would be having your HR number in that. Just reach out to them, call out them, ask them for opportunities. And in case if you're having something good, if you're standing out from the crowd, you would be obviously given opportunity. That's what even I got. One of the company like that. I prefer that as a one of the trick which you can use. And second thing is not to stick on to one thing. Once you're placed in company, don't think that you have one more year. Let's enjoy. Let's not do that. Even I prefer my juniors and my friends too that look out for opportunities. In case if you get or no, it's secondary, but looking out for opportunities would make us prepare well, uh, come out for the challenges we can face out. That's what I
Yep.
prefer.
Yep. That's the best thing to do as well.
Yes, sir.
Now, coming to your interviews, so when you
Yeah.
faced your first interview, how did you prepare for it? So did you go a complete hands-on for the last couple of weeks for the interview? Did you actually go
Yes, sir.
theoretical studies? How did you do that?
So for on-campus, basically, there was no DevOps role for that. It was just a software developer role. That's it.
Yep.
So when it comes to software developer, first comes with the coding part. Next are fundamentals like OOPS, computer networks, operating system, and DBMS, SQL basically.
Hmm.
So these were the four things. I'm comparatively good in my base subjects. I'm good in theory based subjects. I'm good in operating system and all. So it didn't take me a lot of time to prepare for that because from my third year only I was good at with subjects. So I was having that confidence that I will give up my best in that.
Yep.
With respect to coding, I'm little weak in coding as I mentioned earlier. So I gave a lot of time in preparing coding stuff only. I focused mainly on arrays, strings, and linked list only because
Hmm.
that was the basic things which generally, as a fresher, they would be asking you upon.
Yep.
So that was my main area of focus was coding, was a software developer role. When it comes to DevOps role interviews which I gave focus on hands-on. As you mentioned, I was performing CI/CD pipelines, was learning about Jenkins, how the complete function happens, and deployment to Docker. And mainly they would be asking what are the advantages of Docker, why do we need to use a Docker, and what is the DevOps application, why generally the IT prefer DevOps now, and cloud-based questions. So that's why I tailored myself in such a way that based on the interview profile JD, I used to prepare for that, sir.
Yeah, very nice. Now tell me about your interview experience. So what happened in the first interview? So did they did they ask you any questions and try to intimidate you that you're not aware
Sir,
of it,
yeah.
or was it
So
friendly?
it was like, sir, what I believed is that, as I mentioned in DevOps, I was standing out from the whole college. Like there were around 40 people shortlisted in the on-campus round. I was
Mhm.
completely standing out from all of my friends because of only word called DevOps there. Because it was such a fantasizing for me that in the first round they asked me just the basic concepts on OOPS and all, operating system and all. It was very easy for me. They asked me even a easy coding question too. But for my other friends, it was like a complete 1.5 hour round. The same thing was they gave me liberty was because of DevOps, and they asked me some easy questions on DevOps, very easy questions, beginner level questions in the first round. I cleared the first round. Second round, it was just a one-to-one speak. Like I just conversing with the manager. We were speaking about the Kubernetes, what are the applications of that Docker, and there was no question asked to me in second round. They were just testing my what all knowledge I have on
Yep.
Kubernetes, what all I know on what is
Mhm.
CI/CD basically. All basic questions were asked on my
Yeah.
second round. So there was no such difficult thing to me to clear. It was very
And
easy for me compared to
and
my
this
other
this
friends.
this was one of your campus placement interviews, right?
Yeah, this was one of
Okay.
my campus interview. In one of the on-campus company which they approached me through LinkedIn. On the first round, yeah, they asked me what all tools I know on DevOps. So I just
Mhm.
gave them a list of tools which I had learned on DevOps, and they started to ask me on, okay, now Docker, tell me the advantages of Docker. Why do we need to use a Docker? Same thing in Jenkins, Ansible. Same thing, each and every tool they gave me around 15 to 10 minutes to explain what I know about that. That
Mhm.
was first round. It was very easy on that, and they asked me about CI/CD and all. In the second round, they asked me quite the things on Kubernetes, like architecture of the Kubernetes.
Yep.
What do you understand by, and what is the features of Kubernetes? Why do it has gained a lot of popularity right now? This was the basic question which was asked in the manager round. And CI/CD
Right.
pipelines, I just wrote, like showed them how to write a Docker files and all. I just wrote them and explained each and every line. How does it function? What is the
Okay.
importance of each and every line?
Yeah.
And I just wrote them up that one.
Cool. Did they ask you any questions on AWS specifically?
Yeah, sir. Thing was that I have my project on AWS in my resume, which I have pasted on. So they were just asking me. I have mentioned about Amplify, Lambda. What is the API gateway? Why do
Yep.
you need an API gateway? And what is the importance of IAM roles in AWS? And I have worked on EC2 most of them. So they were asking me what are inbound outbound rules? Why do you use that? And basic questions on that. That's it.
Okay. Right. And so you have a third interview today. So is it also the campus placement interview or
No, sir. No, sir. That's why, as I said, you campus I'm blocked. I can't
yep.
apply to any other company. I'll be just searching on LinkedIn, trying to connect with people. As I said, you in JD, I'll just try to scan
Yes.
the recruiter number. I'll be just. This is my off-campus interview today.
Okay. Right. And that is also based in Bangalore.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's based on
Okay.
It would be
Cool.
completely on DevOps role only.
Yes. And I think the questions might be very, very similar because the option of a questions to the fresher is also very limited because
Yeah,
we
sir.
we can't ask you about any of your past experiences. So the most of the questions they just turn around as to whatever you have written in the CV, do you really understand about them? So and I think you're pretty much confident about it because you already cleared 2 rounds of interviews on the same skill sets. So I believe that it should be very streamlined and it should be a very, very similar type of experience that you will have. I as we are not going in for a formal interview,
Yeah, sir.
I I just I'm just thinking what do we actually go ahead for? So do you want me to ask some questions or do you want what do you want out of this?
Sir, I want you to ask me questions. How you are for other people, quite experienced one. So I just want to try give out my best.
All
Uh,
right. All right. Tell me what do you understand about cloud security and how would you implement it in AWS?
Sir, cloud security is one of the important feature which we have to look out for, because we have our applications running in the cloud. A lot of things are going out, and securing it is a major factor, because there would be vulnerabilities out there where attackers might get into that, and it would be a huge risk, because there are a lot of people and a lot of resources will be done in that. One of the thing which I can get into is one of the famous is encryption and decryption. That is one of the thing which we can look out for, where you can have a security keys enabled with the encrypted side, and one the person who's going to decrypt it would be having the other security part key of that. So once it's decrypted, then only the other person can access it. It's one of the most important feature which has to be implemented, not only in cloud, in most of all the projects we deal with.
Okay, right. Do you have any idea about how the single sign-on functionality works?
No, sir, I don't have
SAML
that.
authentications, OAuth.
I know about authorization tokens, which
Yeah.
would be using for like authorization basically.
Mm-hmm.
So we would be generating a OAuth token basically, and that OAuth token would be present only with the person who's going to be accessing it. So that token developer and the person who can access, only they would be having that configuration detail. That's it.
Okay. And what's the difference between HTTP and HTTPS?
Sir, HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, whereas HTTPS stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol plus S stands for the security thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we believe that it's not believing, it's like fact that HTTP is more secure than HTTP. Why? Because they use SSL and TLS certificates in that. So based with the configuration of SSL and TLS certificates in HTTPS, it makes us an insecure network a more securable. So you have any transaction going on, this HTTPS would be more preferable than your HTTP.
Mm-hmm. And
Uh,
when you have an SSL incoming connection, where do you terminate it in terms of your cloud boundary?
I don't have idea on that.
Okay, all right. Do you have any idea about routing tables?
Yes, sir.
Okay, tell me what are routing tables.
So there are two devices, and I have to send a particular like there would be a source and destination which would be stored in the routing table. Like what is the source and to which we have to send that particular packet to, and that routing table would be storing all the information of which are the source, which are the destination it has to send the particular data into, and what are the data packets.
Mm-hmm.
That routing table would be efficient. Is like example, now I want to send a particular packet from A to D. If I go into a routing table, I'll be having idea like, oh, the destination is present there, so that particular IP have to send the data packet to that. So that
Okay,
would be helping us in that.
all right. So I give you a scenario now. If you install a web application on an EC2 instance and
Okay.
you're trying to hit the external endpoint,
Okay.
but you are getting some sort of error,
Hmm.
what are the different types of errors that you can get, and what are the probable cause for it?
So one of the thing which I have dealt with is that the main thing is inbound rules. We haven't opened that particular port, because due to which we are not able to access that particular application which is running on that particular port. Example, I have exposed a port called 5000, and when I'm trying to hit like web page is not loading, it will be completely no network connection, something like that error we would be getting that. Once we go and in AWS, if we go and open that particular port by giving the TCP protocol, HTTP protocol, or you can even open all the ports, but it is not the secure way to do it. But in order to just access it, we can do that. In order to make it secure, I have dealt with one of project Nginx. It's reverse proxy based. That is the best thing we can use out, because opening the ports would be leading to security vulnerabilities. In order to overcome that issue, Nginx would be playing a good role, where it has a function of reverse proxy. Um, with the help of reverse proxy, we can dealt with that.
Okay, and what do you understand by NACLs?
No, sir, I haven't idea.
Network access control lists?
No.
That's all right. Yep, okay. Now, have you used any sort of database?
Yeah, sir,
Yes, have
MongoDB,
you used RDS?
RDS also.
Have you used any NoSQL database?
No, sir. I have used DynamoDB and MongoDB. That's it. And
Can you
MySQL
tell
also
me
I've
a
used.
few differences between RDS and DynamoDB?
Sir, it's a key value based in a DynamoDB, where you use where will be key associated with the data. So whatever we store is a key value there. Here we don't have that kind of a thing. In key value based, we don't
Mm-hmm.
format it. And what we generally believe is that it's quite easy. MongoDB is quite easy to implement, and we'll be having a structured way of format basically. Whereas in RDS, we don't have that structured based of a query.
Okay. All right. So, and which of these databases are bound by a VPC or both of them?
Yeah. Mm, no, sir, I don't.
Right. All right. So now tell me something about Git. You must have used Git.
Yeah, sir, I have used.
What sort of branching strategy have you used?
Can you give me any scenario? Like,
All right. So you do have master branch.
yeah,
You do have projects branches. You do have release branches. You
yeah.
do have task-based branches. So
Hmm.
can you give me an overall holistic view of how these branches are based off?
Sir, generally, for any update we have to push into, we'll be having we'll be designing, building up our own branches where each feature we're going to add into that branch. And in case there would be a different release branch where all the deployment parts takes place, so that would be handled only by the main administrator who's going to give access for that. So example, now I have a feature branch called A, there I would be developing a particular feature. Example, I have to develop a drop down menu in my user interface. I have developed that in my feature branch A, and then in order to project it in my production environment, I will have to send a merge request to my main branch, that is the branch release branch. So once the merge request is accepted by the administrator, that would be reflecting in my production environment. So for each and every feature, I'll be developing my feature patch. Why I do that is that to have this independency. In case of any error, I can get to know this branch is causing me error. I can go and fix the error there. So it helps me to do this basically.
Right. All right. So I also see that you have worked on Docker and Kubernetes.
Yeah.
Tell me, why do we use Kubernetes? What's the need for it?
Sir, the thing is that what generally if you deploy through Docker, the thing is that in case if my container is having some issue and it gets off top or it's off state, that time the complete application is down. We can't resume it, or we have to again manually go and configure it. Whereas this Kubernetes was developed was the main reason behind this. Why? Because Kubernetes has a lot of features like auto scaling, auto replication, and it has like downtime automate in case if there is a roll of rollback updates, and there are a lot of features which Kubernetes has, which doesn't Docker doesn't have, and that's why we do this a lot of enormous features which Kubernetes provides. Most of the IT standards are meant to be using Kubernetes right now.
Okay. And in Kubernetes, you would see two types of files, and I'll name them as deployment.yamls and service.yamls. Can you
Yeah,
tell
sir.
me the base contents of each one of them and why are they even different?
Sir, deployment and service is completely different. So what is a service is that it enables us to communicate basically. You have different pods running in, and you want to establish communication. Or as a client, I want to access particular pod. We have like node port address, cluster IP, and load balancer, external name service. These are the four types of services basically. So we have different based on the use cases. We can use a particular service. So this comes to service part, and mainly we use label and selectors when it comes to deployment and service, because now once you have defined a deployment, you will be having a label associated with it. In order to generate a service or write a service to particular deployment, we use a selector. So that would be just a name based scenario in order to identify which particular deployment part I'm targeting to. When it comes to deployment part, I'll be defining my number of replica sets. I will be defining my pod configurations, what else it should contain, and images. I will be even defining the image pool policy. These are the things which will be defined in the deployment part.
Okay. Uh, and you have also worked in Ansible as well, right?
Yeah, so configuration.
Okay. Tell me why Ansible is used.
So the main application of Ansible is configuration management. Example, I am a IT. I want to push. I want to enable downloading of Docker in all my slave nodes, slave machines. I have around 10 to, I can't go and manually install all the 10 slave machines Docker. So in order to overcome this, configuration management is being provided by Ansible, where by being a master node, I can sit on the master node. I can push all the required dependency of the Docker to all the 10 other machines. So that
Mhm.
Docker will be downloaded in all the other 10 machines. So it basically works on push based mechanism.
All right. Have you used Terraform?
No, sir, I haven't used. I know I have little bit idea on that. That's it.
Okay, that's all right. I'll not be asking questions on it then. Tell me about what do you like a holistic view of what do you understand by DevOps? Why was even DevOps introduced?
Sir, what I understand, it generally stands for development and operational team. Why was it done is that back in time, there was an issue between a development team and the operation team. A developer used to write a code, and that would be pushed onto the operation team. Sometimes it used not to work because of the required dependencies was not there. There was no required system requirements which has to be met. So there's a lot of issues between the development and the operational team. The main DevOps was to bridge the gap between the development and the operational team. DevOps came up with the tools. We have Docker, which mainly solve the issue where we like the developer would put his code, mention all his required dependency, what all things has to be downloaded before in order to run this application, which all ports you have to mention. Everything would be mentioned in the Docker file, push on with the code in the Git repository, and that would be pulled by the operation team. Then he would be knowing. Example, now I'm running a Python application. These are the dependencies which are required to run this application, and I have to expose this port is been exposed already, so I have to expose this port. So everything would be a detailed hand knowledge for operation team. This
Mhm.
discrepancy, this gap was completely filled with the help of DevOps.
And you must have heard this sentence that DevOps is a cultural shift.
Yeah,
What do you mean by that?
the same thing as I mentioned you. There was a lot of this problem and all was facing in the back in time, and this DevOps as it came to the market, it completely changed the culture of the IT industry. Now most of the things are happening in just in automation kind of a thing. Just on one click, the complete automation takes place. And when it comes to CI/CD, developer pushes the code, it builds up the Docker image, pushes it into the Docker hub. From there, I'm just deploying directly on my EC2 or anywhere that I want. The complete automation part takes place now. Before, each and every step has to be dealt with a single person. Now a single automation click would help you to complete workflow of a single thing. So most of the task, most of the work has been reduced. And even the Kubernetes part, such a fantastic feature of auto healing and auto scaling. Now example, traffic increases, whole like example, if traffic the load cannot be balanced with each pod, at time what happen, a new pod is created by itself.
Mhm.
Before manually configuration, manual person should keep on tracking that suddenly traffic increases, there we have to go and create a different thing to accommodate it. Now the auto scaling part dealt with the Kubernetes completely changed the cultural shift of our industry.
Okay.
That's
Now,
what I believe.
in terms of DevOps,
Yeah,
there's a continuous feedback loop from operations to development.
yeah, sir.
How does that happen?
So basically, now as an example, have some button running on my user interface. Now, according to my in my local, it's running fine. There is no issues with that. I have just posted once it is in the staging environment. There, the operation team finds out that this particular button is not working out. It's taking me to some other page. So that feedback, that what happened, that particular thing would be pushed back to the developer. That loop will be come back to the developer, and the feedback will be given to him that basically this button is not working based on our functionality, based on our requirements. You have to sort it out that. So that
All right.
loop would come back to developer and developer would work on that.
Can you think of a scenario where Git can be used in this?
Uh, okay. So basically what I think is that I would be developing and pushing the code into the Git, and that particular changes like where the operation team finds it out, he would be reverting back to the development team, and development would again fetch the code and perform the operation, something like that.
All right. Okay. Now, tell me something about the types of CI/CD pipelines that you have built,
Okay.
and what are the challenges that you faced initially?
So the main challenge I faced was to install Jenkins, because like there was lot of like blogs and posts, like different YouTube channels which I had referred to were having their own kind of a thing. Like if you do this, follow these steps, it will install in that. It was not working out to me on my EC2. I don't know why. I felt a lot of issue with that, dealing with that. I referred Stack Overflow, got out with that. It took me literally one day to just solve that, install Jenkins. So there I faced a lot of issue with Jenkins. And other thing is that if you forget your password in Jenkins, it's going to be very difficult to again get it back. Because I have faced sometimes I forgot my password of my Jenkins, and it took me literally to again download it and install it. It took me again one day to do that. So I just prefer everyone to just remember your Jenkins password and username.
Okay, cool.
Generally,
All
I
right.
just build freestyle pipelines only. Uh,
Okay, freestyle. Have you any understanding of multi-branch concept?
Yeah, sir, kind of. I have some.
Okay. Tell me what's a multi-branching in Jenkins?
Sir, there would be a single branch basically now. For each and every this one, like for staging development, we'll be having different branches. So development part will take place in that branch. Staging will be taking in the different branch, and deployment will be taking in the different branch. So each and everything will be automated. Once the particular branch is completed, it could be pushed on some other branch. Like example, development branch to staging to again deployment part. So each and every branch would perform their functionality. Once it is done, it will be passing on to this other branch.
Okay. I'll give you one scenario, and you tell me all the different tools that you will use.
Okay.
Okay. So, and what are the different overall configurations that the tool would require? So my current setup is I've got a web application, and I want to deploy it at an instance where I've just committed the code. So let's say if I just changed the code, committed it on my branch, and I want this deployed into multiple environments. And if it has passed successfully all the test cases, then deployed into production. I don't want any manual step.
One
First
company.
question, what are the tools that you will use? And bring an exhaustive list of all the tools that you can think of.
Okay.
Right? Okay.
So
You can think over it for 2 seconds and then give me an answer. Tell me about all the tools that you can think of.
yeah. So basically, what I do is that first development of the code is done. Once the development of the code is done, I would be using Docker for Dockerizing my application, just to have that CI/CD approach in that. So just Dockerizing my application. Then in order to make it perfect, like completely automated, CI/CD is the main thing. I will be using Jenkins for that, the complete CI/CD pipeline of that. And in case if I'm deploying with the help of Kubernetes, I'll be using Argo CD, which is a GitOps tool that plays a very vital role there. So Argo CD comes into the picture in the case of deployment part. With respect to my monitoring, I would be using Prometheus and Grafana for that, for monitoring my application. In case of any how is my application performing? Is my pod is down? What are the performance of my pod? Is there anything I have to change manually? So Prometheus and Grafana. Grafana is a best tool which I would think of, because it gives me a nice user interface where I can have the CPU time, how it's performing. Each and every metric can be come across with the help of Grafana. With respect to my security, which is the most important part, I'll be using Trivi for my Docker image scanning, basically, and this one OZAP scanning tool.
Okay.
And even Sonar Cube, which we can use, because each and every part of the code, when the code is committed, as you mentioned, that would be checked with help of Sonar Cube. That would be monitoring each and every code, and it will let me know any vulnerabilities are there, so that my code is secured, and my code is even monitored. My code is deployed with the help of Argo CD, and the whole CI/CD performed with the help of Jenkins.
Okay. Is there any monitoring tool that you can think of for monitoring for security analysis of containers or images?
Monitor? No, sir.
Okay. All right. Now, one last question. So when you've connected your Git to Jenkins, how do you actually configure that once you have committed and pushed the code in Git, your Jenkins automatically picks it up? So what's the step of those configurations?
Yeah, sir. The thing is that first main thing is in the Git repo, we have a concept called webhooks. There we have to configure our Jenkins. What are the details we get the user part of this one? So webhooks would be it's an easy step process. Just around it would take around 5 minutes just to configure that. And in Jenkins also, when we are declaring the pipeline, what we're doing, we have to mention our branch repo from where which are taking the repo, and we have to even mention a repo URL from which repo you are taking up that would be mentioned in the Jenkins part. With help of a Git, we have to mention a webhook. We have to define a webhook page.
Thank you, Pranav. I'm pretty happy with the way that you have answered. And given that you're just a fresher, I think that is commendable. You have done some practical hands-on on the tools, and that is what gives you the ability to answer these questions in a way. And I wish you all the best. So you have another interview today.